I'm Holly Johnson. Hi. Who went to Ignite last night? Who went to the after party? Wow. That's why my voice is a little rough tonight, or today, but thanks for coming. I'm Holly Johnson of clubthrifty.com and other publications, and then also earnmorewriting.com. And today I'm going to talk about how I turned from a blogger to a professional writer, and then how I grew my income like a lot more than it ever was. So I'm going to get started. So this was me in like from 2006 to 2011. This is actually a commercial I was in, and that's my husband in the back. He looks pretty miserable because we worked a lot of hours and we had hard jobs and we didn't get paid nearly enough. But that's what it was like. I worked 40 to 50 hours a week. I worked weekends and holidays. I had PTO. I hated it. I never saw my kids. I never got to spend time with them, and it was just really hard. And at a certain point along the way, we started a blog called Club Thrifty, and that was 2011 as like a side hustle. And I'd always been a writer, but I really stepped up my efforts to try to earn money on the side because we wanted to pay off our debt and have a better life and just kind of do our own thing. And then over the years, I've grown that into a really thriving freelance career. I quit my job after a year of writing part-time. And now you can find me places like Frugal Travel Guy, US News and World Report Travel, Personal Capital, The Simple Dollar, and I'm also really excited. I just got hired to write a column for the Indianapolis Star, which is my newspaper in my state. And that's getting ready to start, and that's huge for me. So it all started from a blog that I did, nights, weekends, evenings when I had no time at all. Okay, so let's start. These are some common misconceptions about freelance writers and kind of thoughts people have that prevent them from really going for it. First of all, a lot of people think we don't actually get paid because you all hear about those content mills where people are getting paid like $5 an article, right? So everybody hears the stuff like that, and they think that that's the way it is. Or they think we don't get paid very much at all. Or they think it's so competitive that there's no way you could get started. I know so many people who don't try because they just think there's no way to do it. And they think there's hardly any jobs out there, and that content creation is a dying industry. People tell me all the time, they're like, you're going to get replaced by a computer, right? But in reality, I know tons of writers who make six figures, easy, even part-time. I made $180 last year just writing, not including my blog income, and this year I think I'm going to bill for about $225 in writing income. And I'm not shy about that. I do income reports, and also I'm telling you that just so you know what kind of opportunity is out there. A lot of writers work part-time. They're like moms, and they write like 5 articles a week and make a couple thousand a month and love it. And real writers actually get paid, and we don't feel bad asking for money either. I certainly don't. The other thing is, and this is important, there's a ridiculous amount of online content that needs created, and robots cannot write a cool blog post written by you or me, like something with personality, with jokes in it. A robot can't do that. And big blogs and brands are always going to need to hire people like us to do that. So to get started as a freelance writer, a lot of people think they need all this stuff and all this education. But really, you just need to be a good or okay writer, at least average, because you'll get better over time. That's how you get better, is by writing and practicing. You need a computer, which we all have one anyway. You need basic knowledge of something. It helps to have a niche. And the ability to do research is huge because as a writer, if you can write about things where you're not a subject matter expert, but you're able to do really cool research and interviews, you can really broaden the scope of things you write about and make more money. And in my opinion, it helps to have a blog or at least an online portfolio because you need an online home where people can find you. So here's what you don't need: a degree in journalism or English. I have neither. A resume. The Indianapolis Star asked me if I would send them a resume, and I was like, okay. I started at the top, like with my name, because I've never had a resume. Lots of connections. I had none when I started. You don't need any either, but you're making connections now here. This is what this is all about. And you really don't need apps or calendars or fancy tools. People are always trying to sell you like their new app or their new tool that's going to help you be a freelance writer. You don't need any of it. So What I'm going to talk about today is like what I think are the 6 keys to online freelance success. This is just my opinion, but it works for me. The first one is having your own blog and brand, and that includes social media, because the brands that are going to hire you to write love it when you like tweet their posts or share it on your website or post it on Facebook, and they love that. You also need to learn how to pitch clients so that you can get jobs, and that's kind of an art form, but you know, you have to get started. That's part of the process. Also, become an excellent freelance writer. I know so many people who want to write for a living and they're so gung-ho about it, but then they like don't try or don't pitch clients, or they wait for somebody to contact them with this awesome job. That's never going to happen. You kind of have to go get it, show up like you own the place, and take what you want. Also, defend your workday. A lot of people quit their job to write full-time or want to write full-time, and then they go to Starbucks all day, or they're like at the mall, or they go shopping with their friends or whatever. Like, I work a full-time job. I might be in my pajamas in my living room or my bedroom, but I work all day. I don't do anything else. If somebody invites me somewhere, I'm like, no, I have to work, just like it was a regular job. Also, be yourself, have opinions, and share them when asked. I think this is a really important aspect of being a really highly paid writer. It's worked really well for me in some ways, really bad in others, because when you're opinionated, some people will hate you. But I'm going to talk in a couple minutes about why that might even be a good thing. And also, like, decide when and how you want to be paid, and then stick to your guns, because a lot of writers don't come up with concrete plans to get paid, and they'll go ahead and create content for these brands or blogs they're starting, and then they never get paid, and then they give up. So you kind of have to have a system in place to make sure you're getting the money that you deserve, no questions asked. So the number 1 key is having your own blog and brand. I started with clubthrifty.com, and we were lucky because when I started writing, we already had a social media presence, and we kind of already existed on the internet. The cool thing is, when you first start trying to write for a living, you need an online portfolio that people can look at. But how can you get jobs if you don't have an online portfolio? Well, your blog can be that online portfolio. You can create like 10 awesome blog posts to get started, put them up there, and when anybody is looking to hire someone, you're like, hey, here's my writing samples. It's also a great place to put a Hire Me page. I actually get contacted by a lot of people through my Hire Me page. And once you get started getting hired for jobs, you can put up a Hire Me page, and then people can read your writing samples right there. You can also build a social media presence and leverage that for higher pay. And big brands love that. If you have like even 3,000 Twitter followers, they're like, will you tweet your article when it's done? Yeah, they love that. That can help you get higher pay and help you get a job over someone else that isn't on social media. And also, I'm not talking about Twitter handle Kim_1992 or something like it has to be branded to your blog or it doesn't make any sense. And also, you want an online home where people can find you, because so many times I've been contacted to create content, and they're like, hey, I read your post on personal capital, and that led me to your blog and your Hire Me page where I have my contact information. But like, if I hadn't had an online home, how would they have ever found me to hire me? You know, you need that. And blogging and online freelance writing go hand in hand. I love it because you can get your blog making some money, you can write part-time, and really leverage both to make more money. And if you have a bad month with one, you might have a good month with the other. So it all adds up. So this is my Hire Me page. It's nothing fancy. I need to update my picture. But you know, I just write an intro, and then I have some links to posts I've written for the Wall Street Journal, Personal Capital, Simple Dollar, and I trade those out sometimes to kind of keep it updated. And then we do Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter. So having some social media followers help. I don't have as many as some people, but like having 5,000 Twitter followers and 10,000 on Pinterest, they love that. So here's the number 2 key to being a really highly paid freelancer is learning how to pitch clients. So when you're first starting out, you'll have lower paying jobs like writing for other blogs, and that's okay. But over time, you'll want to go for the higher paying work and start to pitch clients. It helps to figure out your niche so you know where you belong. Like, for example, I love credit cards, credit card rewards, travel, and money. So that's what I write about. But yours might be totally different. But it helps to kind of hone in on what you like, whatever your niche is, and then find jobs that relate to that. And don't be afraid to send out cold pitches, because I've gotten some really huge jobs from like an email I sent that said, hey, I'm Holly Johnson, I'm awesome, here are some of my writing samples, and you want to hire me. And I've gotten really awesome jobs from that and made good connections with people, so don't be afraid. Also, all it takes is one big break to make your freelance dreams come true, because when one big brand hires you, then that validates you for everyone else. So you got to get your foot in the door with one really cool job, and then no one will ask questions after that. So for me, that was Get Rich Slowly back in like 2011. I sent them like 10 guest posts like a stalker, because the website was huge at that point. It was getting like 200 comments a day. So I sent them all these guest posts. This is one of them, Dodging Financial Bullets, a tribute to my ex. But they started posting them, and eventually I was like, hey, you post 5 of my posts, why don't you just hire me? And they were like, okay. I mean, honestly, that's how it happened. And then after that, other people saw, oh, you write for Get Rich Slowly? Well, let's go ahead and hire you, because they validated me for everyone else. So my average pay per article back then was like 100, 250, and I think Get Rich Slowly paid 176, and I was still working my full-time job then for 40 grand a year. So making $50 an hour to write for Get Rich Slowly was like awesome. But you know, I make significantly more now. Over time, you can kind of build that up. So what I've done to make more money over time is let go of clients who don't pay enough, unless you love them, because I have some, you know, long-term jobs I've had that I just enjoy doing, I'm willing to do for less. Search for new clients that offer higher pay and better terms, and I think that's the natural cycle of some of these things. You'll let go of older clients that don't pay as much and then move on to the next big thing. And also ask for more money. I ask for more money all the time. Almost always get it, because I ask every year, like, hey, I've been here a year and I did awesome, and look at all this traffic I brought you, and why don't you pay me more? And they're like, okay. And then, it's true. And then another thing, but this is why, I've learned how to offer more value in exchange. I've learned things about the back end of websites for people that I write for, like, hey, how about from now on, I'll upload my post into WordPress for you, do the HTML, add links back into the website, and then get it all set up for you. Well, they're not going to fire me, because who else wants to do that stuff? I'm willing to do all that stuff because I get paid more, and it helps me become more valuable and harder to replace. Okay. So the number 3 key to being an awesome freelancer is, you know, do the work. Answer your emails. This is so huge. I work on the other side and hire writers sometimes. I can't tell you how many people have said, like, I'm so annoyed with these freelancers because they won't reply to my emails. And no matter how awesome you think you are, nobody wants to wait 3 days to hear back from you. They're not going to, because they already emailed like me, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I got this, you know? So you gotta answer your emails, be responsive, and be on top of it, because you're not special enough to warrant a week wait to hear back. You know, they don't want to wait for that. And do things that make your editor's job easier. I'm always asking people I work for, like, do you like this format? Can I do something else to make this easier for you? Is there anything I do that annoys the shit out of you? Like, those kind of things they like to hear, and then I can make them happy, make their job easier, and then they definitely don't want to fire me, because I'm doing it right. Also, proofread your work. People submit crazy stuff. Stop. Proofread it or hire someone for like 20 bucks an hour to look over your work and make sure it's awesome. Be a yes person. Try new things. Don't be afraid. You never know where a writing job could lead, and some of mine have led some pretty cool places, so I'll always try new things, and I think that's a huge key to this. Don't get stuck in a box where you think I can only write about these 3 things, and that's all I can ever do, because you might branch out, try something new, and realize you're really awesome at something else. And do the things you don't really want to do. So these are just some emails people sent me, like at the bottom. It says, hey, Holly, I've got 65 assignments to send, and I knew you'd respond to this email, so how many do you want? Like, that's the kind of extra work I get, because they know I'm going to reply in like 5 minutes, and then they don't have to email 12 other freelancers, see if they're going to even respond, and go through a bunch of drama. And just a minute ago, we talked about trying new things and doing things that are out of your comfort zone. This probably doesn't make any sense to you now, but this is what I'm talking about. This is a personal finance client I wrote for asked me if I could write some higher education content for their college websites. And I was like, sure, why not? And actually, when they asked me, they said, do you know how to use all these different government websites to research this stuff? And I was like, yeah, I know how to do it. But honestly, I had no idea what they were talking about. But regardless, I figured it out. I Googled it and figured out how to use all these government websites to do all this research for them. And then you can see in like 2012, I was making a couple $100 from just this one client. And then by that summer, I was making like $3,000, $4,000. And then the next summer, there's some months where they paid me like $9,000 or $8,000. This is just one client. Because I tried one thing I didn't want to do that sounded really boring, and it is. But this is where this led. In 4 years, they've paid me like $168,000. And I'm still writing for them. It's still boring, and it's still worth it. And I learned a new skill. Now I can write about, you know, colleges and higher education and stuff. All right, here's the number 4 key to being an awesome freelancer and making lots of money. It's defending your workday from all the distractions in your life. One thing I think is really important is set work hours. A lot of freelancers who quit their jobs are like, woo, I'm going to go do whatever and work at night or something, but it rarely works. I work 9 to 5, like Monday through Friday, like a normal person, and I think that really helps no matter what your hours are. Don't let friends and family pull you off task. Another thing is, when you start working with clients, you'll find these clients that are like total energy vampires, and they'll want to talk to you on the phone all the time and Skype with you and like get on conference calls. You'll get off the call and be like, I have no idea what that was about. It was just wasting my time. So don't get sucked into that stuff. Like I pretend I'm like, phone call, oh, I don't know if my phone's working. I'm not sure. Skype, no. I'm not getting dressed and makeup on to have a meeting with you. Like I might talk to you on the phone, but it's not going to be on Skype. And then, you know, get rid of the clients who are taking up too much of your time, because as a freelancer, you know, you're getting paid to write, and when you're on a bunch of phone calls and, you know, chatting, filling their work days because they get off at 5, you're not making money. And this is kind of how that works. You know, if you have 5 clients and they all want a 30-minute phone call, that's 150 minutes a week. That's 2.5 hours, or 150 minutes a week, lost productivity in a week, 2.5 hours. In a month, that's 10 hours. And then Skype is worse because you got to shower and get dressed and look good. And a lot of editors work full time, and so if they kill an hour talking to you, they're just like, sweet, it's 5 now, I get to go home. But what they don't realize is, as a freelancer, you know, you're getting paid to create something, submit it. You're not getting paid to talk to them about like what they had for dinner last night. So protect your time and don't let people waste your time, because then you're not making as much money. So what I do is, like, I refuse calls or limit them to once a month. Like, I kind of just don't get in that habit with people. I'll just be like, yeah, you can email me. I'm busy that day or whatever. Don't Skype. Don't get sucked into it. I know so many people who are, like, on bi-weekly or weekly Skype sessions with the team to talk about absolutely nothing. Stick to email and apologize. Or negotiate an hourly rate. I have one client, I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to you on the phone anytime you want, and I'll charge you $100 an hour, because that's my hourly rate for the editing I do for them. And I just put it on my bill, and then I don't care if I'm on the phone with them. You can do that. And when it comes to family and friends, you just gotta get used to saying, like, I can't watch your kids today. Like, people have asked me that, like, hey, it's an early release day at school, can I drop the kids off? No. Like, I'm working, I'm not babysitting, I can't meet the plumber at your house or take you to Hobby Lobby or pick you up from the airport. But people get used to hearing no, and they'll quit asking. That's important. If you want to work and not just become somebody who does errands for other people, you got to set boundaries. Okay, so the number 5 key to being a really high-paid freelancer is being yourself, even if people don't like you. And that's hard, because you want everybody to like you, right? Like I do, but they don't. You know what? It's okay. Depending on the writing job, it's okay to inject your personality. A lot of clients will love that. Now, again, it depends on the writing job, because a lot of clients want very, you know, boring third-person stuff. But depending on the client, you can write something crazy in your own voice and make it go viral, and they'll think it's awesome. or they'll think it's terrible, but it's fun to try. Some of your clients might like it. You can even become an online personality, which is like what I think I've become over the years. People know if they read something whether I wrote it because I have a unique writing voice. And that helps you get jobs. Also, never having an opinion is boring. So sometimes you're going to write something in your personality that really just pisses people off. But what I'm going to talk about here is why that's actually a good thing. So this is a post I wrote for a client called "Why I Won't Pay $15 an Hour for a Babysitter." And it went viral in the worst way you can ever imagine. Like, it went viral. There were 100 comments. Everybody said I should be fired, or they were unsubscribing from the blog. They hated me. I'm a terrible person. And then it got worse. The penny hoarder wrote about it the next day. This woman refuses to pay babysitters $15 an hour. And of course, there's like 100 comments on there. They're like screenshotting my quotes from the article talking about how awful I am and whatever. And then Lifehacker wrote about it. So I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I thought my client was going to fire me because I thought they were going to be so upset about this. And all the comments were terrible, like hating on me so hard. And then, like, here's some. You know, I'm subscribing from this website. I'm no longer reading this. You're cheap, you're selfish, and you undervalue other people. Like, these are people that don't know me. You know, this is just crazy things they're saying about me. But this is what happened. After a week of me thinking, oh my God, the hammer's going to drop. I'm going to get fired. Here's what happened. This is a part of an email I sent from my boss about his boss. Keep doing what you're doing because he loved it. And pitch more topics that might piss people off in the same way. Can you believe that? So, like, the point of me telling you this is to say, like, share your opinion and be yourself. And some people are going to like it, and they're going to hate it. But you know what? Everybody is going to move on with their life. I don't care. I still don't pay my babysitter $15 an hour. I pay her like $10 an hour. Life goes on, and these people love me because I wrote awesome things that went viral, and they probably didn't even read the comments. The point is, be yourself, even if people hate you. And this last key is just about getting paid, because I was talking earlier about, I think a lot of new freelancers are just excited to get a job, so they're like, yeah, I'll write that. And then they never set up payment terms. So, you know, don't let people rope you into complex invoicing schemes. Like, I don't demand payment up front, but I always say, like, I submit an invoice on the 30th of the month, and you need to pay within 15 days. Demand it. Don't negotiate. If people are waffling about it, that's probably not a good sign, because there are some people, even in the personal finance community or other communities, that are like a startup website, and they want content, and then you'll never hear from them again. I mean, it's terrible, but it happens. Also, don't be afraid to ask for your money. Here's a funny story. I write about travel too, and I get invited on a lot of press trips internationally by like tourist bureaus and stuff. I met this girl in Puerto Rico once who wrote for really top tier travel magazines. She told me one of them hadn't paid her in 9 months. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, I'm afraid they're going to replace me if I seem too needy or nag them. And I was like, why are they going to replace you? You're writing for free. You know, you're like ideal, right? Totally made fun of her. I think she asked for her money when she got home, but don't be afraid to ask for your money. Any other job, if you're a teacher or a lawyer or a fireman, like those people get paid every other Friday, right? So why do we as freelancers feel bad asking for that money? Don't feel bad. You deserve it. And also, there are some people that just aren't worth it. That's something you'll realize as you build your writing career or get started. Some people are not worth it. They take too much time. They make getting paid a hassle. They say your check's in the mail and it won't come. You know, when you waste time chasing money, you're not making money. So wrapping up, here are the things you need to make a lot of money. Have your own blog and brand. Master the art of pitching clients and getting your foot in the door. Become an excellent freelancer and do the work. And don't be afraid to do things that are out of your comfort zone. Defend your workday and don't let people waste your time. And be yourself. Even if people don't like it, have opinions. And then stick to your guns when it comes to getting paid, because that's what it's all about, is getting paid. And so that's me, earnmorewriting.com and clubthrifty.com. And thanks for coming. I think I'm a little short on time.